You've heard these stories your whole life, right? That you only use 10% of your brain, cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis, or that a penny dropped from a skyscraper is a deadly weapon. You're surrounded by these facts we just sort of accept. But what if I told you that hiding among all that fiction, there are some legends that are shockingly real? What if one of the wildest stories you've ever heard is actually true? Today, we're putting 5 famous myths to the test. We're going to dig through the rumours and the tall tales to find the cold, hard evidence. We'll bust the myths that are complete nonsense and uncover the one that is disturbingly factual. And I'll give you a hint. Number 3 is not what you think. And it will definitely make you look over your shoulder. Stick around. Let's start with a classic American tall tale. The idea that giant alligators are living and breeding in the New York City sewer system. This story has it all. Mystery, danger, and giant reptiles lurking just beneath the feet of millions of unsuspecting people. The legend really blew up in the 1930s, with newspapers reporting gator sightings. The most popular version goes like this. Wealthy families on vacation in Florida would buy baby alligators as cute, exotic pets. But when those little guys started growing into big, toothy predators, the families would panic and flush them down the toilet. Down in the dark, sprawling maze of the sewers, these gators supposedly feasted on rats, grew to monstrous sizes, and started a whole new colony. The story got so big that in 1935, the New York Sewer Commissioner actually launched a hunt for them. It's a fantastic story that's been in movies and TV shows for decades. But is there any truth to it? Could a creature from the warm swamps of Florida really set up shop in the grimy underbelly of the Big Apple? Well, the scientific answer is a hard no. Experts agree it's biologically impossible for alligators to survive down there. Alligators are cold-blooded, which means they're like living solar panels. They need the sun and warmth to generate energy and regulate their body temperature. Without the sun, their bodies would just shut down. A New York sewer is like a cold, dark garage for that solar-powered car. It's never going to recharge. Not to mention, the sewers are a toxic soup of chemicals and waste, which is like trying to run that car on contaminated sludge. Now, there have been a few confirmed cases of alligators found in New York City, like the one discovered in Brooklyn Prospect Park in 2023, but these are always isolated incidents of illegally dumped pets. They are not sewer dwellers. Interestingly, research has confirmed that alligators do use stormwater sewer systems in Florida, but that's their natural habitat. So, the myth of a secret reptile society under the streets of Manhattan? This one is completely busted. For our second myth, we're moving from the sewer to the dinner table. This is one that was hammered into a lot of us as kids, probably by parents desperate to get us to eat our greens. It's the belief that spinach is an iron powerhouse that will give you superhuman strength. The idea was of course made famous by Popeye the Sailor, who'd pop open a can of spinach and his biceps would instantly inflate. It's often said his popularity helped boost spinach sales in the US by 1/3 in the 1930s. The most common origin story for this myth is almost as good as the myth itself. The story that in 1870 a German chemist named Erich von Wolff misplaced a decimal point while studying spinach. He supposedly wrote that spinach had 35 milligrams of iron per 100 gram serving, instead of the actual 3.5 milligrams. This tenfold overstatement was then published and accepted as fact for decades. It's a great story about how a tiny typo can change history. But here's the twist. The story about the decimal point error is also a myth. Early research did have errors, but it wasn't a simple typo. The confusion probably started when the iron content of dried spinach was mistaken for that of fresh spinach, which is mostly water. Even without the typo, the myth falls apart when you look at the science. Spinach does have a decent amount of iron, but the problem isn't a quantity, it's a bioavailability, or how much your body can actually use. Think of the iron in spinach as treasure locked inside a safe. The type of iron it is means your body already has a tough time picking the lock. To make things worse, spinach is packed with a compound called oxalic acid. Oxalic acid acts like a stubborn security guard who stands in front of the safe and won't let you near it. It binds with the iron, making it even harder for your body to get to it. In fact, studies show we absorb as little as 2% of the iron in spinach. So, while spinach is a healthy vegetable with other great nutrients like vitamin A, its reputation as an iron superfood is built on a misunderstanding. Popeye would have been better off eating red meat if he wanted a real iron boost. This myth is busted. Okay, we are 2 for 2 on busted myths. The sewers are Gator free and spinach won't make you a superhero. But now we're at the one you've been waiting for. The one the title of this video promised is actually true. But before we reveal it, if you're enjoying this myth-busting journey, do us a favour and hit the subscribe button. We're always digging for the truth and you won't want to miss what we'll uncover next. Alright, let's do this. This next myth sounds like it was ripped straight out of a horror movie. It's the deeply unnerving idea that a rat can swim up through the winding pipes of the sewer system and pop its head out of your toilet bowl. It's the kind of urban legend that makes you want to keep the toilet lid down for good. You might want to take a seat for this one because this myth is 100% true. I know it's horrifying, but it is absolutely possible, and it's all thanks to the incredible and frankly terrifying abilities of a rat. First off, rats are fantastic swimmers. They can tread water for up to 3 days and hold their breath for as long as 3 minutes. More than enough time to get through the U-bend in a standard toilet pipe. Second, their bodies are terrifyingly well designed for this exact trip. A rat's ribcage is hinged at the spine, which allows it to collapse on demand. Think of it like a collapsible umbrella. Normally it's open and wide, but when it needs to get through a tight spot, the whole structure folds down on itself. If a rat can get its head through a hole, the rest of it can almost always follow. Those sewer pipes that seem like an impossible maze to us, they're a highway for a rat. Their sharp claws let them grip almost any surface, making it easy to climb right up the vertical pipes. The journey isn't even that hard for them. The main sewer line has plenty of air, and the S-bend in your toilet pipe often has an air pocket, giving the rat a spot to catch its breath before making the final push into the bathroom. Pest control experts confirm this happens. While it might be rare, it's very, very real. And this isn't just a big city problem. Whenever there are sewers, there are sewer rats. So the next time you hear a strange splashing sound from the bathroom, let's just hope it's the pipes.
Whoa! Whoa!
I don't know about you, but I'm still recovering from that last one. Let's move on to something a little less creepy. This is a piece of advice passed down by parents for generations. Wear a hat when it's cold, you lose most of your body heat through your head. The logic kind of makes sense. Your brain is a big deal, so your body sends a lot of blood to it, and without a hat, all that heat would just escape. The most common number you hear is that you can lose 40 to 45% of your body heat through your head. This belief is so common it was even printed in a US Army field manual in the 1970s, which is a big reason it sounds so official. The idea came from military experiments in the 1950s where researchers put subjects in Arctic survival suits and exposed them to freezing temperatures. The suits covered their entire bodies but not their heads. So surprise, surprise, they lost a ton of heat from their heads. But the experiment had a huge flaw. Of course most of the heat escaped from their heads. It was the only part of the body that was exposed. That's like covering every single window in a house except one and then declaring that 90% of all heat loss in any house must come from that single window. More recent, better controlled studies have debunked this. A report in the British Medical Journal found that you lose at most about 7 to 10% of your body heat through your head. Heat loss is proportional to how much skin is exposed. Think of body heat like light spilling out of a room. It will escape through any opening, a door, a window, a mail slot. Your head is just one of the openings, making up about 7% of your body surface area. You lose just as much heat from an uncovered arm or leg as you do from your uncovered head. So, while wearing a hat is definitely a good idea to stay warm, the idea that your head is a giant heat radiator is officially busted. We have made it to the final myth, and it's one anyone who's ever been to a kid's birthday party knows well. It's the deeply held belief that sugar makes kids hyperactive. We've all seen it. A kid chugs a cola and eats a slice of cake and suddenly they're bouncing off the walls. This connection seems obvious. The idea really took off in the 1970s, connected to a diet that claimed eliminating things like sugar could help with conditions like ADHD. The beliefs just stuck in our culture and became common sense parenting. Parents see the wild behaviour at parties and holidays, times that are almost always loaded with sugary treats, and the conclusion seems simple. But what does the science say? Over the years, dozens of rigorous double-blind studies have been done to find the truth, and the results are overwhelming. Sugar does not cause hyperactivity in children. In a major review of the best studies, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, researchers found no link at all between sugar and a child's behaviour or brain function. So why won't this myth die? It all comes down to parental expectation and the setting. It's like wearing coloured glasses. If you put on yellow tinted glasses, the whole world takes on a yellow hue. In one amazing study, researchers gave kids a sugar-free drink but told their mums it was full of sugar. The mothers who believed their kids had consumed sugar, the ones wearing hyperactivity glasses, were way more likely to describe their child's behaviour as hyperactive. The expectations literally changed how they saw reality. The chaos at the birthday party isn't caused by the cake, but by the party itself. The friends, the games, the presents, and the break from routine are what gets the kids revved up. The sugar is just an innocent bystander that gets all the blame. While cutting back on sugar is good for your health, blaming it for hyperactivity is just wrong. The sweet myth is thoroughly busted. So there we have it. 5 myths, all put under the microscope. We've learned that there are no gators in the New York sewers. Popeye's favourite snack isn't an iron superfood. Your head isn't a giant heat chimney. And sugar doesn't make your kid bounce off the walls. But we also discovered the chilling truth that a rat can absolutely turn your toilet into its own personal exit from the sewers. That's the one that's going to stick with me for a while. What about you? Which one of these myths surprised you the most? Was you a firm believer in any of the ones we busted? Or did you already know the horrifying truth about the rats? Let us know down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed getting a dose of reality today, please give this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.